Ready? I'd like to call this meeting to order, the road committee. Let's all stand. I'm going to say a quick prayer, and then I'm going to ask Howard if he'll do the pledge.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. I'd like to welcome the road committee here and all of our guests here, the banner, all of our commissioners that serve here on the committee, and all the other commissioners. I'd like to let the commissioners that are here that are not on the committee, if anytime you need to speak or talk or ask any questions, just feel free to. And we're going to get started with approving August 16th, 2023 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those approve, say aye. Let's move on into the agenda items. I'm going to switch the first one. I'm going to put Wayfarer Drive. I think they're here for Wayfarer Drive, and let them go first so we don't hold them up. Whichever. Go ahead. You can go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Morning, everybody. I'm Josh Booker, Tom's assistant. He's got me talking today on some of these. So Wayfarer Drive, I was just talking this morning with our inspector about that, and then he came with a plat, and so what we spoke about is a little bit different from what he's going to talk about. My understanding was that it's a gravel road, and the county's been maintaining that gravel road up to a certain point, and that they were stopping short about 500 foot, because that's where the road list was telling them to stop. And I was thinking we needed to take in some more length on that road list, so we'll keep gravel on the whole way. But after speaking with him this morning, it sounds like it's a different situation completely. And you want to talk about what you were going to say real quick?
That gravel part, it's been worked on since I was here in years ago. It was looked at again in 2017, but we just never have went through with accepting that extra 150 feet or so to include those homes at the end in the cul-de-sac, and that's basically what we're asking for, is to extend the distance. And keep in mind, who knows why the distance is not right. Back years ago when the roads were taken in, they didn't have the GIS system we have now, the measuring devices. They did it with most likely tandem axle trucks, and they did it with an odometer. And so a lot of the distances, and we're finding them all throughout the road list, that are not accurate. And this is one that I believe that should be. If you look it up on the GIS, it actually shows that it is county road, or it's county property, and that just needs to be county road. It includes a cul-de-sac. But anyway, like I say, they worked on it again in 2017. I don't know what happened then that it didn't get extended, but anyway, in my opinion, it's one of those that did fall through the cracks by virtue of it wasn't measured right or something, I don't know what, but it does need to be corrected with the distance, and that's where we're at today. And I think this gentleman can add some insight to it.
State your name if you don't care.
My name is Ken Cole. I have the house at 1887 Wayfarer Drive. It's the one at the very end of what we're talking about. How this all got started, back in 14, this road, alleged road, went from Dixie Court all the way to Dalton. However, most of it wasn't there. They were showing, it was platted lots and the taxed individual lots for years and years from the early 60s. I went before, I believe, the commission first, and I talked to them about maybe a fix. I said, I'm gonna buy the property if I can get this done. I was gonna cut 3 lots off of this, and that would have cut the road to where it wouldn't have to gone up the hill, and any of that other have to be done. In fact, where this road goes up, it would probably go right through the Nipper's barn. So in this meeting, they requested that I provide a surveyor and get a re-subdivision plat of all this, and which I did. Charles Lawson did this back in 2016, and if you'd like, I can give it to you. You can just pass it down. Maybe it'll explain it a little bit better. At least you can get an eyeball.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, so is your request the same as Mr. Collins, that we extend that road and complete that road?
It appears, yeah, let's complete the road. It appears that, I don't know why the measurements were off, but that's the official survey, and that's a plat, the revised platted. And, all we're requesting that the road be brought up to some kind of standard and put some kind of blacktop on it.
Okay.
That's what was originally promised 10 years ago.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we extend the road and complete it as per Mr. Collins' request. And I place that in the form of a motion.
Do you have a second? Second. Any discussion? Let's take a vote. All those approve?
Aye.
Approve? Passes.
Thank
Good?
you.
Okay. That was short.
Mr. Chairman, I do have another question for Mr. Collins. So you alluded to the fact that there's more roads in the county that are like this. Are you putting a plan in place to address those, or what is the plan to address those?
Well, we don't know which ones are, the measurements are wrong. For example, we came here a while back with Blackburn Hollow Road. It was another one that we adjusted the measurement on. We're just taking them as they come up,
Okay.
really.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Senator.
Road specific, but this problem does come up, and we do have to be a little bit careful and look at them on a case-by-case basis, because there is a two-step process, or really more than that, but as a general rule, people plat roads, but just because they're platted does not mean the county has accepted them. So until this body accepts a road and a certain length of a road, it does not become a county road. The county's job and the road department's job is to maintain roads. The road department does not build roads, and we need to be careful about that, because there are a lot of places where developers come in, they plat roads, they never built the roads. And so there are definitely times where the road list could be wrong, or we should have done something, but we also have a lot of situations where developers didn't do their part, never got the roads accepted. And if we go down this road too far, the road department's going to be building roads that should have been built by developers.
But that's not the case here. Is that correct?
I don't know.
It's a different situation here, but we've got a couple of other where that comes into play. So the next one, the first one is Brad Drive. that we'll be talking about. Just a recap on Brad Drive. That was where the road was built outside of the county right of way in a couple spots. And the road department, they got a survey done, and the survey did show that. So we know where the road's supposed to be, and our plan right now was to move the gravel road into the county right of way, and then fix the spots where it was. Some of the neighbors out there, they suggested a land swap, but there's at least 3 or 4, maybe more different properties out there where the road is kind of on their property, and getting that platted and getting the surveyor to go out that, and then getting everyone to come together on that, including the banks and everything to sign off on that. That's going to get real expensive and real complicated. So we're thinking the best solution is to just move the gravel road a couple feet over into the county right away. But Tom did want me to say that if the homeowners want to get together and do that on their own, then the road department would, let them do that, obviously. But we'll probably get to moving this road in the next couple months here, now that paving season's over and we've got time for it.
Yes, and I think we've talked about this before. I do remember this one, and that was the solution that we talked about, which is basically move the road so that it is within the right of way, the road's where it's supposed to be. We don't have to get anyone's approval to do that because it's our right of way and we can do that. So that was the solution we talked. I do remember there were some property owners that didn't like that solution, but that was the solution I think that was recommended by Tom and that we had talked about, and it doesn't require us to do anything or get any approval from any property owners.
If I could add some of you were here when Mr. Delk was here, and he was making a proposal that, and the way he explained it that day or night, I don't remember which, but anyway, had I known what he was trying to say, I would have went for it. But he kept saying that Mr. Jones, who lives across the road from him, wants to buy the county land, and I kept telling him the county doesn't have any land for sale out there. But I was out there one day, and he explained it the right way. And what he wanted was this: that now Mr. Jones, I think's his name, that lives across the road, he built a house, and by virtue of where the right-of-way is, his driveway, when we move the road into the right-of-way, is going to be very steep. Whereas if we leave it where it's at, his driveway's okay. All right, but they were willing to work out a deal amongst themselves, and that's where I didn't understand. Mr. Jones was going to pay Mr. Delk $15,000 for what land that we needed to leave that road where it's at. And that way he could have a normal driveway. Had he explained it to me that day or night, I would have went for that. I hate to see this fella have a driveway that's straight up. I really do. And they're still wanting to do that. And it's no money. I mean, they understand that I'm not putting out any more money, county money, for surveys and deeds and all that stuff. I'm done with that. But and I was going to ask our county attorney can we do that if they're willing to absorb all the cost. And it's no trouble for us to move the road at all. But trying to help a neighbor out there who's got a driveway that's going to be terribly steep, I would like to do that. But if there's a problem with it, then I'm okay with not doing it. But one part of the road is going to have to be moved, and we'll deal with that.
No, it could certainly be solved either way. The way that we talked about before is to solve it by basically moving the road to where it was supposed to be. Certainly another way to do it is to have it surveyed and I'm gonna use the word swap, but basically move the county designated right-of-way and roadbed consistent with the deeds and all that. But yes, you have to have surveys, we would have to replat everything, and so it could be done. That way is just, certainly more complicated.
Tom, what's your suggestion? What do you want?
I would like to give it some time, and I don't think either property owners, are in a hurry. They're okay with where the road's at right now, and they're okay with it being on private property. I would like to give them time and present this to them, that if you're willing to put out the money for the survey and the transfer of deeds and all that, we're willing. But to put it bluntly, I've washed my hands with this road. I made a mistake, and I've lived with it. I've worried with it, and I'm ready to put it to bed. And if that's the way they want to put it to bed, that's fine with me. But I want to get something done and get this off of me. I'd like to have something done pretty quick because, we have stopped paving, we've stopped mowing. I have a few people, that's a few employees that's loose right now, can do some special project work, and this is the time of year when we can work on it. But I really believe they will go for it. But I was worried also about the money that's going from one to the other, if that could get us in trouble in any way.
It wouldn't get us in trouble. As I said, it's kind of complicated to make sure everything's in agreement and gets done. But my suggestion would be, if we don't really have a plan and want to wait, that we just make no recommendation from this committee and give Mr. Collins time to assess what he would recommend doing and give you a plan at some point in the future. Or move the road, which wouldn't require any discussion from this committee.
But we do know that we got to move the part where it joins, what's the name of that road? Anyway, where it intersects with this other road, we know we got to move that because it is on private property, and apparently the landowner or the lender or somebody wants it moved, and we know we got to move that, which we can do that pretty quick anytime. But my suggestion is we give this a little more time between the property owners who want to leave the road where it's at, and see where that goes.
Commissioner Slater.
So can we give the property owners a timeline? Because I know we've talked about Brad Drive for 2 years, at least 2 years. So can we say you have 90 days or 60 days to figure it out, and then you're going to do what you have to do because it's your not as busy season before you get back into mowing and paving again, so you can get it resolved?
I'm all for that, and that's the only way I would want to do it is to have a timeline.
Just tell them they have 30 or 60 days to work it out, and then you're going to do what you have to do to correct it.
All right, that sounds good to me, and I think that's what we need to do.
Mr. Chairman, I make a recommendation that we give the homeowners no more than 60 days to come up with a solution, or Mr. Collins will move forward with the best interest at the county, for the county.
Okay, we have a second. Second from Mr. Beatty. All those approved, say aye. Aye. Disapprove. Dan.
All right, moving on to the next one is Spring Branch Road. And to recap on Spring Branch Road, Spring Branch Road didn't used to always be a dead-end road. It connected to Innovation Drive out there. Actually, Google Maps still has it being like this. So if you put that industrial park in your GPS, it might take you down Spring Branch Road saying you can get there that way. We need to talk to Google about that. But basically, the Chamber of Commerce, they took a portion of that Spring Branch Road to put in those factories back there. and that left Mr. Rue out there with the dead end ending right at his house. I think since Google's got people going back there, a lot of people were turning around in his yard and his driveway at the dead end there. So what we did with him was we went out there and we paid for a survey to do a little land swap with him. So we got a little 50-foot turnaround out there at the end of the road, so it's not just a dead end road. That way, school buses got room to turn around there, and cars and everyone that's back there. And Tom wanted me to just throw this out there. The land swap is done and everything. We've registered it and everything. We'll have the turnaround probably next week built out there. But since it was a Chamber of Commerce job, I guess they were in charge of the whole situation. Maybe they could reimburse for the survey out there since that was left out of the part of the deal. It's already done and everything, but he just wanted me to throw it out there. I don't know if y'all got any suggestions on that.
On that turnaround you were talking about, is there a dead end sign at the beginning of the road?
There is, yeah.
Okay, and you said school buses. That concerns me. That surely they'd know after time not to go down. It's a road they should not travel down, or do they have to travel down that road?
Well, I don't know if
drop
they're picking
kids
up any
off?
kids at the end of the road. It's not a real long road, but
How many homes are down that road? Just his?
oh, it's probably like half a mile long road.
Is there other homes?
Yeah, there's other homes, but
Okay.
so I don't know if any kids are getting picked up on that road. But if there are right now, then that turnaround is big enough for a school bus. That's what we did for the sizing. We
Okay.
were like, how big is it got to be for a school bus? That's how we sized
But
it.
I would think if the bus had no need to go down there, that's my
They ain't going
concern.
down
Is
there if they don't
if
need
you
to.
don't have a need, then
Right.
don't go down the road.
Right.
Thank you.
There's 8 or 10 houses on that road, and before it was cut in two by, the industrial park, it had a turnaround at the end. But when they did what they did, they just bobbed it off. There was no turnaround other than to turn around in Mr. Rue's driveway, and he's been nice about the whole thing. He's been patient, and actually the county at that time left sort of a dangerous situation. There was like a 30-inch pipe had washed out, and at the end of this dead end was just a huge trench that they left. And so anyway, that was a hazard. So I went in there and put a pipe in it, and actually Mr. Rue, such a nice guy, he offered to pay for it. And I said, no, you didn't create this problem, so you're not going to pay for this problem. But anyway, we resolved that. But to resolve the problem with cars, trucks going down in there, and used to having a cul-de-sac or turnaround out there, they don't have it anymore. So they use his driveway, and he, was a little worried what's turning around there in the middle of the night. So he was willing to do a land swap, which we did. I reckon we transferred the deeds and everything.
Yeah, it's all done.
So it's all legit, but we got to go in there and build it. Now, our question was, would we be wrong to ask the Chamber of Commerce, and I don't know if that was a city and county deal, that industrial park or who, but would we be wrong to ask them for reimbursement for the survey and for the work that we're doing to build this turnaround? I knew what your answer would be.
How much is it, do you know?
I think the survey was $2,200, the plat and everything.
And we haven't did the work yet as far as the excavation, base stone and pavement and all that. We haven't did that yet, but,
Just hearing y'all say city, the city has nothing to do with our industrial park branch. Is that correct, or am I incorrect?
I was led to believe that it was a
So
joint
they
venture.
put money in on the, oh. Okay, I didn't know that. I was told differently. Okay, I didn't know. My mistake.
worst they can do is say no. Okay.
Any other questions on Spring Branch?
All right, we'll ask the city
Move on.
about that one. The next one is Old York Road. Howard, you actually knew more about that than any of us with that old county map going out there. But, so there was that old county map that's got a road leading to the empty lots out there. Our road list has got it being a mile-long road, but the road that's actually out there is about a third of a mile, and there's lots that go all the way back there. So the people with the lots, once they start building houses, they're going to want a road out there since there's supposed to be a county road going out there, according to some map. But for now, there's just one house that's about to be built within like the next year or so, and the road we've got out there right now, it reaches to access that one house. So there's no one pushing to have a road right now. We surveyed about half of it, so we know where the road's supposed to go. We've been out there a few times cutting trees and clearing the road. So we're just going to kind of take it as it comes. If someone buys a house way back there, then we'll go ahead and get to it. But we're not in a rush to put a road there for the time being.
Thompson.
I know we run into a lot of those problems before. People had old maps. They'd go back, and if the county worked on a road, and this was one of those roads that had trees 2 foot around right through the center of it. They'd work on a road, why, evidently. Anyway, that's what happened out there, but I hate, as long as that is, it's gonna take a lot of money if you ever have to build it all the way around. Hope, yeah, have to do
Moving on to the next one, we got Bancroft Road. Bancroft Road was our most recent state aid job. It's been paved. They did a really good job out there. As of yesterday, they had about half the stop bars done. Our striping contractor did. So they've got a few more stop bars. Then they got to put reflectors down. But other than that, the road's pretty much done. And then once he gets those last few things, we'll send it off to TDOT and get reimbursed for everything on that road.
I was out there on Bancroft Road, and it's a super highway. They did a good job on it. It looks good. Y'all did very well.
Thank you.
When you say stop bars, do you mean rumble strips?
No, just on the side streets. Most of those stop bars are worn out. There's a little bit left of them, so go redo those on
Okay.
the side streets.
I was unsure what that was.
All right. And the next one I got is Hewitt Street. I actually talked to Crystal and Ron about this. So Hewitt Street is kind of a similar situation to Old York Road, but in this situation, there was no county road taken in leading to these lots. So I believe the subdivision was built back in the 70s around Dockery Street, and they platted for a road to be there, but the developer never built a road. And it's kind of iffy of whether the county actually took that land in or not. But there's lots out there that were split up, and they're selling those lots right now. So the realtor and people out there are wondering, how am I going to access these lots? So what Crystal and I spoke about was, she was saying maybe the easiest way is to give them an easement, because it's not a county road. The county doesn't want to pay to put a road out there, but maybe the county would be willing to give them an easement so they can cut their driveway through that county land over there, and they're responsible for maintaining it and everything. Does that sound right?
Yeah, so I have the original person that contacted me owns the last lot, and it is the situation that I talked about. So basically, this would be, developer does a plat, I think it was, what'd you say, 78, 79, road never gets built. There is a road, Hewitt Street, but it doesn't go to these lots. For whatever reason, which I do not know why, Stanley Thompson shows it as a separate parcel and shows the county as the owner of the parcel. Now, that does not mean that there's a road there or that it was supposed to be a road. It just means that the county owns it. It's possible that was through a delinquent tax process. That would be my best guess, However, I can't confirm that. The only notation Stanley has in the record is per Barrett Painter, which, of course, he would have been the county attorney in 2004 and told someone that it was the county's parcel. Well, whether that was delinquent tax or some other analysis, I don't know. So the woman who contacted me actually requested to purchase the property. It would not be my recommendation, and I've talked to everyone about this, that we do that, because if we were to surplus and sell whatever interest we may or may not have in this to one property owner, that could be problematic for the others that don't have access because of this issue. So what we talked about doing, and we're sort of in the early stages of this, what we talked about doing is, to the extent we do have an ownership interest, we could grant permanent easements to all of these property owners that would then get them to where the road is. They, however, would be responsible for creating some sort of gravel or driveway that would get them to the county road. So that's what we've discussed doing, so at some point, though, we're going to have surveys so that we can do the easements and draft the easements and do that. But I have talked to both the realtor and one property owner who are in agreement with this concept, assuming that we can get all the paperwork done and get it all approved. But you all would have to approve, obviously, any permanent easements that would be granted to property owners.
So is that the property that's up off Dockery Lane where the Truesdale School is?
Commissioner Slater, we also talked about another option would be to allow the property owners to request that we abandon whatever interest we have. The problem with doing that, though, is that half of it would go to the old Truesdale School property per our rules. So you would, if you abandon it, you split it down the middle, then they don't have enough feet to access. So if we did it that way, they would be completely landlocked with absolutely no access. So while that's a possibility, it does not fix the problem.
How many homes are there? Just one right now?
There are no homes right now. There's someone who is wanting to build, and I think all this got started when she tried to get a building permit and was told, you can't get a building permit because you do not have, we will not grant one if you do not have access. So if you don't have access to a county road, your building permit will be denied. So.
Is that a developer or just one?
It's not a developer. There's a real estate agent that I think is trying to convey two of the lots at the very beginning, and the person that contacted me is a person who owns the lot and wants to build. I think she owns the other lot on the front side, and she wants to build a house on the back portion, the back lot. Some of these have not been an issue because the property owner at the front that does have access also owns the lot at the back, and they don't have any current intent to build. So because of that, it's not been an issue, I guess, since 1979. But it now is, because we have at least one, possibly two, that want to build in this area.
What would we, if they decided that they wanted to build a road in there and get the county to take it in, then what would we have to do to justify that property to them?
That is certainly an option. I don't think it's an option that's probably financially feasible. They could certainly, and I had that discussion with both of them, either build the road to private road standards and do it as a private road, which is almost county road standards minus the paving, I think. Or they could certainly build it to county road standards and have it accepted, and we would if they build it correctly. It's just going to be quite costly for them to do that. So neither one of them I spoke to had any interest in doing that, at least not currently.
Well, if they want to put a private drive in there, we'd still be responsible since we have owned the property. So what liability would we have as
We
county?
certainly do. This is, there is no good solution to this problem. Yes, I do agree with you. To some extent, there is the same liability that we would have for any other county-owned property. I do plan to, in the paperwork, if we do this, to pass that responsibility on to them. But Howard, you are certainly correct that if something happened on one of these driveways, the county would end up being sued. But they would also sue the property owner, and we would do the best that we can. But yes, you are correct. There would be but there's currently liability, in the sense that if something happens on that property, if it's showing as county-owned, the county has some liability or responsibility for that.
Mr. Slater?
So are you looking for a recommendation from us today as to what to do, or do you have a recommendation, or what, Crystal, what are you looking for?
We don't need anything today.
Okay.
We need to get this process rolling, and at some point, you all will need to approve the permanent easement. So there's really not anything that I know of for the road department to do at this point, but we do need to move with that, and you all will have to approve those easements. So you will see it again, just not right now.
All right, and we already did Wayfarer Drive, but there are just a few more things I want to talk about for other business. One of them is Sheffy Lane, and Sheffy Lane is the spot, the railroad crossing has a big hump in it, and there was a fatal accident a couple years ago out there. So the mayor's office, they got together with Wright Brothers, and their plan was to take out that hump at the railroad tracks. But with the railroad being involved, it's real complicated. And you need a bunch of permits and stuff just to touch anything that touches the railroad. So we've hired an engineering firm, and they have come up with a design to take that hump out of the road, make it more safe, so nobody's out there jumping it. And that is in its final review with the railroad. The engineering's done. The railroad's just got to approve the last set of plans. And then I talked to a guy at Wright Brothers, who said that in the past, Wright Brothers had agreed to do all the dirt work and the grading out there, which is a pretty good amount of work that they'd be doing for free. And then the road department, after they do all their dirt work, we'd go pave on top of it. So that's moving along. It's slow, but it's really just held up however fast the railroad wants to go with it. That's how fast it's going to go. So just an update on that. And then the last update I wanted to give was Pleasant Grove Place Bridge. I think we included that on our state aid plan for this year. It's involved with the state aid bridge. I believe it's called the High Priority Bridge Program. So that bridge, it's got a couple cracks in it. It's holding up for now, but it does need to be replaced at some point. So TDOT said that was a good bridge to replace. And we hired an engineering firm, Collier Engineering, to go out there. TDOT approved the plans for that bridge, but there's something with the state aid funding with that bridge program where they've got money for everything but the bridges, apparently. But money got held up a little bit. We're trying to see if people are kind of fighting over that money right now for this year, but there will be a new set of money coming in July. So we'd hope to get it to letting, having people bid on it this month, but it's looking like it's probably not going to happen this month. It might be till July, it might be as soon as we can get it. But it's really just up to TDOT and the people over there that whether we'll be able to do anything on that this year. And that's all I got.
Thank you so much. Mr. Tom?
Tom has a striping road.
It's going good. He's not in town this week. We have a promise that he'll be here next week, weather permitting. But I meant to have Shannon to get us an update of how many line miles we have striped, but it's quite a few. You don't have that, do you?
We have 8 road lists. There's at least approximately 10 to 12 roads on each one of those lists that have been striped since we started.
Mr. Chairman?
He also, the striping company that is doing our stripe is doing the striping and the stop bars and the raised pavement markings on our state aid projects, which we want him to get in here. I wanted him in here this week on Bancroft to get it done because, you know, we've got, you know, over $500,000 tied up in it, and we can't get it back until, you know, every bit of the work is complete. So I wanted him in here this week, but he was off in another county somewhere, so. But, we have a promise he'll be here next week.
Mr. Slater?
Can we have Mrs. McDonald, supply the list of the roads that have been completed to Ms. Moultrie, so we'll have that, please?
Mr. Thompson?
One other thing on Menace Road and across Menace Road going to the quarry, has the state done anything about what they're gonna do with that problem there? Are they taking the sensors out of the road and putting them on
Yeah,
top
but
now?
there's not gonna be any loops, you know, in the pavement anymore. And that job was supposed to have been done the end of August. So I need to check and see if they're done. I don't know, I know there's an issue, something about some striping on the new turn lanes or something. I just found that out this week, but I'll call and check and see if cause I really need to know if the motion detection is overhead and not in the loops, because I've got to mill up, Randolph Samples, road there, for a couple of 300 feet where it's, concrete and there's loops in it. And I can't mill it up and resurface it until I know that those loops no longer work. So.
I actually talked to an officer yesterday that complained about that too, and I called TDOT. They called me back saying, they said they were striping the road last night. They sent someone out there to look at it. I don't know anything about the sensors for the stoplight, but it will be striped, so it'll be a little bit safer. He was saying people thought it was 2 turn lanes, so he was worried about a wreck out there. So at least it'll be striped at this point.
So when it's all over and done with, the loops won't be in the asphalt or concrete anymore. They'll be overhead, so.
Any more questions for the road department? Tom? I think this commission did find a tractor and some spreaders, and hopefully when it comes time, hopefully this commission can get you that other tractor maybe when it comes budget time too.
We haven't got the tractors yet, and to be honest with you, I hope, since it's this late in the year, I hope we don't get them till February or March, because I assume the warranty's gonna start when we receive them. And I certainly don't want to use up our warranty in the wintertime when we're not using them, so. So I'm not pushing him to get them to us, you know.
Yep. Is there any communication from the audience? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you.